Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Katie McGowan of
Business for Better Society.
And we're going to be talking about the Glanford area today. So this area is just outside of downtown Victoria. It's kind of a shoulder district, just south of Broadmead, which is a very popular area. I would say this area really came into its own in the last decade. It's 5 to 10 minutes to downtown, and it's about 15 to 20 minutes to the airport, right?
Yeah, about 20 minutes, depending on time of day, which is important for me. I travel a lot, so that's why I ended up here.
So you're not originally from Victoria?
No, born and raised in Calgary, but I moved here from Beijing, where I spent the last decade doing business over there. So,
how many other places have you lived in the world?
Oh, God. I don't know. I'd have to count. Probably half a dozen or so countries. Is that houses? A lot more.
What made you choose Victoria?
Oh, honestly, I think it's the best city in the world. I've been all over, and there's just nothing like it. Every time I would come here, you know, it's like champagne bubbles for your soul. I love it here. And it was the antithesis of China, which I loved as well. But big rat race, lots of pollution, lots of people. Victoria is the absolute opposite of that. Nature, warm community, ocean, good life balance. I love it here.
The first time I went to China, I actually went to Hong Kong, not China itself. But I had like a feeling of claustrophobia.
Yeah, that happens. There's overwhelm. And there's kind of a 2-month point. It's fun watching all the newbies come. And I lived in Hong Kong as well for a while. And at about 2 months, people either break and they have to leave, or they embrace it and they're just overwhelmed by the excitement of what's happening there. So I went for a few months visit and came home a decade later. So I embraced the chaos. Yeah.
So what do you do in Victoria, like for fun in this neighborhood in Glanford?
Yeah, in Glanford, one of my favorite things to do is do a hike over at Christmas Hill, which is just across the highway from where I am. It's a really easy hike. It's probably about 25 minutes from here to the top. And you can see the ocean on 3 sides and the sunset on the 4th side. And so I end most of my nights up there, just taking in the city and thinking about my day. So, yeah.
Do you go by yourself or do you have a pet?
No pets. I can barely feed myself.
That's why she's so slim.
It's true. I'm just starving. I'm living off of popcorn. So no, it's just me. But I mean, you'll pass a lot of people on the way there and familiar faces. It's a small community.
Don't you? That's one thing I love. I have a dog, so I walk her in the park. But I just find that people get to know each other, and they're very friendly and open here.
They really are. Actually, when I first moved to the community here, I started a neighborhood block party just because I like knowing everybody. And it was the easiest way to do it. And the whole community got on board, and 40 or 50 people come out once a year. And we pull our barbecues out on the street, and everybody brings their favorite dish. And we know each other by name. We have a Facebook page and plan Halloween together and Easter together. And yeah, it's like we live and leave it to Beaver.
That's actually, Briar Hill is a street in Toronto. That's how I named my group, because I lived on a street like that. It was the next street over. It was Courtly, but yeah.
Very cool. Well, there we go. We have that in common.
So was there any reticence on the side of people? Like, is everybody involved, or do you find generationally are things different between people?
The generations are one of my favorite part about the street. They all come together. I remember when I was first starting the block party, I went and knocked on everybody's door. And Mrs. Henderson, who's in late 80s, said, I've lived here since 1957 and no one's ever had a party. So she was thrilled. And we've got another guy, and Mr. Price, he's lived here. He was the first one on the street. And I think he's about 93 now. So he came out in full color amidst all the kids and announced it would be perfectly okay if we call him Mr. Mayor, because he's lived on the street the longest. I mean, we got brand new newborn babies all the way from that up to 93-year-old Mr. Mayor. So It's a good collection.
If there's an emergency, what happens?
Facebook is amazing. I've had like quite a few little messages and texts and things, somebody looked a bit suspicious wandering down the street one night, and it was on the Facebook page right away. And we really keep an eye out for each other. 2 policemen live on my street as well, so there's not much untoward activity here. We're lucky.
So in terms of the location of where you are, you're adjacent to the highway, and I've shown properties, I was telling you, across the street. And so the buyers that I work with did find it a bit noisy. How do you find it?
It was actually something I was worried about when I moved here as well. And within, I don't know, a week or two, I totally tuned it out, don't even hear it. And beyond that, it turned out to be a godsend, because I'm big on hosting, and a lot of my neighbors are big on hosting, and it's kind of perfect. We can have our little barbecues out on the back deck or in the yard, and the highway actually just creates enough white noise that you're not disturbing the people next to you. So we can rattle on with a bottle of wine till 2 a.m, and nobody hears it, nobody's bothered. And coming from Beijing, it was almost comforting to me. Like, city of 25 million people to a city of 350,000. I kind of like the hum. It makes me feel at home.
What about so comparing it to Beijing, what about light pollution even?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived here for a couple of years now, and I cannot tell you how many times I get out of my car at night and I still am dumbfounded at the number of stars, and the sun. I love Beijing. It was really good to me, but sometimes we went like months without seeing the sky. The pollution was that thick. So this has it all: rainforest and blue sky and ocean and sun, and yeah, I love it.
I remember teaching a student, we took him on a canoe trip. We went to Northern Ontario, and he was from Beijing, and he was sitting there on a stump, and he was looking up, and he kind of looked kind of kingly, actually, and he goes, I've never seen the sky before. Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing, and that's the real thing, between the light pollution and the pollution. You can go a long time without seeing what's above you.
Do you think people are more connected with their environment here then?
Definitely. Even when I moved here, it was probably 3 months before I could sleep soundly in the morning and not wake up at 5 a.m. with the birds, because I just hadn't heard birds in so long, which is a weird thing to say. Yeah, different lifestyle, different things happening. I loved the insanity of the big city, and now I'm ready for some solace, and this was perfect for that.
So what do you do other than go for hikes? What do you do outside?
I like going to the vineyards a lot here. Yeah. My favorite one is Divine up on Old West Saanich Road. Tell them Katie sent you. They know me. They have this incredible spot on top of a hill and overlooks the valleys of the vines, and then you can see the ocean and Mount Baker, and they actually even let you bring your own picnic, and you can bring a picnic, grab a bottle of wine, and just enjoy. And there's croquet and stuff if you've got kids that are coming by. So yeah, I love the wine tasting. I like paddleboarding, that sort of stuff. Just hanging out with friends as well. It's such a great food culture in this city. There's no end of places to eat. So despite the skinniness, I do eat a lot. Just not what I make myself.
Where do you go paddleboarding?
Sometimes the Gorge, or there's Prospect Lake and Thetis Lake are really good as well. Durance is near here. Durance is about a 20-minute ride from here. And if I go there, it's actually usually to take my nephews fishing. That's a big deal in our family. So yeah, fishing. I
really like that. I love the fact that, actually I don't think I have anybody else who's mentioned that they've gone fishing, but what kind of fish do you find?
Oh God, we need my nephews for that. I just try to be the cool aunt and take them. But there's types of bass and trout, I think, are the two main ones. They have infinity lures. I don't know, but they catch stuff and I eat it when they cook it, and it's really good.
Do you find in this neighborhood itself that there are a lot of kids?
A ton, yeah, because just one street over from where I am, we have Glanford Middle School, which is a pretty well-respected school. And then just on the other side of the highway from me is Rogers, which looks more like a retreat center than a school. I wish I went to a school like that. It's up on the ridge and overlooks the city, and they have gardens, and it's amazing. So, and then the end of the school is end of the street is a private school, Pacific Christian, yeah. And so, yeah, we're wedged in between those three, and they're all within walking distance. There's tons of kids here everywhere.
That's kind of one of my regrets, that the street that we live on right now has just older people and nobody for my kids to play with. And I think it's really important as a parent, just like interacting with your neighbors. They're a great introduction to have children.
It's true. I grew up on a street with lots and lots of kids, and it was formative for me. Like, I remember popping over down to Marlene's house 2 doors down. She was an older lady and had her kids move up and grown up and moved out, and so we'd go and bake pies, and she was a potter, and we'd sit and make pottery, and she'd tell me about life, or another guy would teach me photography, and then we had kids and we play cops and robbers till the wee hours of the morning. And so I'm kind of drawn to neighborhoods like that, and this is very much one like that. I have a neighbor next door whose daughter is 5, and they send her to ask me if she can borrow cans of tomatoes, just to practice her social skills. So I knock, 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 open the door, and I'm looking, and then I got to look. Oh, hi. So that's good.
So speaking of food, where do you go for, like you mentioned, we have a great food culture. Where do you go to eat? What do you eat that's special?
Oh, Clark & Co. has the best ribs in town. And
where's that?
Best cocktails. It is on Broughton and Blanchard, right next to the parkade there, and to the Opera House, kitty corner to that. It's by and far my favorite, and an amazing group of people. They just make you feel at home. I like Lure over in the Delta Hotel. I think it's a unspoken gem of the city. It has the best view in town. It overlooks the harbor and Parliament and the Empress, and they have a really good happy hour. And good Brussels sprouts. That's like my go-to. Maybe that's gross. I don't know, but I love the Brussels sprouts.
I don't like them only when they're baked.
Yeah, these ones are like fried, so they're crispy and smothered in Parmesan. And yeah, get a cheap glass of wine on the happy hour and you're good to go. Yeah.
And where else? Seafood?
Seafood? No, not so much. Goya, I like downtown. It's a sushi place. It's pretty good. The new Boom and Batten, I like a lot. Over next to the new Victoria International Marina, they have incredible handmade pasta. I'd say it's the best pasta in town, probably.
I just kind of stumbled across Boom and Batten, but I quite enjoy it. I love the view that it has, and we went there for the fireworks on July 1st.
Yeah, they were beautiful. I was at the marina for that as well, and the fireworks were beautiful. I got to tell you, okay, I just thought of another food one. There's this place called Fujiwa on Shelburne. It's like this little Japanese convenience store, except they also make takeaway sushi. Best freaking sushi in town, and the most affordable, and they just churn it out all day long. Yeah,
I know they have like an array of sushi, right?
Yeah, and teriyaki bowls and all sorts of stuff. It's so good.
I used to take my kids there when they went to Vikes for summer camp. Okay, entertainment. What do you do for entertainment? Do you go? So you mentioned the Opera House. Have you been there?
Yeah, I do. I like the opera. I think we have a really impressive opera scene. Actually, I was super surprised. I thought for a smaller city like this, it wouldn't be top caliber, but it really is. They do a great job. The symphony I like as well. Symphony Splash every August. You got to go to that for sure and catch a show in the Symphony Hall if you can.
Have you been to the McPherson Playhouse?
I have been, but not much. I know there's a lot of concerts and things that come through there. I'm not a big concert person. I like the opera where there's like a show and a scene and I don't know.
A story.
Yeah, more of a story, definitely. Otherwise for entertainment, it's mostly just friends and patios and heading outside. And
was it hard to meet people here?
No, this is a incredibly friendly town. Also one of the most generous cities I've ever been to. The amount of charity stuff going on here just blew my mind. So every weekend there's some different gala or fundraiser or thing to go to or place to plug in. And I plugged into a lot of meetup groups when I came as well. Found a ton of community there, and the built-in community on my street helped a lot. So.
I think you're a bit gregarious.
I like people.
That's a good thing. It helps when you're moving somewhere.
Yeah, it definitely does. I find most people want to have a conversation. They want to be seen. They want you to know that another human sees them and values them. And if you just hit pause and have a short conversation, they're more than willing most of the time.
Awesome. I think that's a great line to close on. So stay tuned because we're going to be back just after this message. We're going to be talking to Katie about her business and finding about how she got into it after moving from Calgary to Beijing. Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Katie McGowan of
Business for a Better Society.
So how did that start? How did you get involved with this?
This Business for a Better Society is a charitable foundation that I built with a mentor of mine. And it's actually out of Hong Kong, but I kind of operate it from all over the place. And it started really as a means to connect people to excellent projects, innovative projects, making giving easy. I'm a business strategist by trade in my background. And so that's what I was doing in China. I was building a lot of companies and mergers and acquisitions and helping companies scale. And we noticed a lot of entrepreneurial friends and clients and whatnot reach a certain level of success where they had the resources to give back and they didn't know how or where, especially in the developing world where I was living. You never know if your money's really going to the kids or if it's funneling some, untoward organization or buying somebody a Porsche and greasing palms or whatever. So we started this really because for me, assessing a charity was no different of a process than assessing a business, which I'd done for a long time, except charities don't have the room to fail or to be innovative in the same way businesses do. With a business, I might test a product 100 times before I get it right. But if you have a charity and people are giving you their hard-earned dollars through donation, you have to basically guarantee every dollar is going to succeed. And I mean, the world just doesn't work that way. So we built this charity, charitable foundation, and we do a lot of mentorship with impact projects and nonprofits and give them great abilities to scale. And we have a lot of incredible volunteers, executives that will fly in around the world with us. We just took a team to Nepal to work with a group of kids that had been trafficked to circuses, Indian slave circuses. And they were rescued, and then we got to be a part of helping them turn their circus skills into a social enterprise. And now they use their skills for business and to educate other people on human trafficking. And it's an incredible privilege. We just have a lot of fun. So,
how do you find the charities?
Most of them at this point are first-person referrals that we get. We really like it when somebody we know has spent a lot of time observing an organization. Every once in a while, we'll do something a little unusual. Like coming up in October, we have a fundraiser here for mental health. And that was a result of Anthony Bourdain. You remember the chef, unfortunately lost his battle with suicide. And we kind of took that sad situation and turned it into a conversation, especially in a foodie town like this. And mental health being one of the top challenges within the food and beverage industry in Canada. We just thought, what a great time to reduce stigma, have a conversation. So we do a big fundraiser for that called Kitchens for Missions, October 19th. Get your tickets.
Where is it?
It's really fun, actually. What we do is a bunch of restaurants all downtown donate a table for 6 to 10. Depending on the size, and they do a 3 to 5 course meal with wine pairings and drinks. And so you come and you get a dinner with all your gal pals or your buddies or whatever. You buy tickets for that restaurant, and then all the proceeds from ticket sales go to charity. But then at the end of the night, everybody comes from all their different restaurants all over town, and they meet. This year, it's going to be at Milestones. They're donating their lower level, their oceanfront level, to us, and we're going to have a huge after party there and just talk about the great food we ate and have fun and get people into counseling sessions that need it.
Mm-hmm. I know the head chef there, Charles.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. They're a great bunch.
They are a great bunch, and they really do a lot to give back. I think sometimes I wonder if we dip in the same pool too many times.
We do, and that's sort of why we made this event a little different, because often when you're asked to sponsor something, your logo goes on a brochure or the back of a wall somewhere in a ballroom, and that's about it. And so this was a way for businesses to give back, but it also put bums in the seats and, created a team bonding activity for the back of house, for the chefs and the servers to be part of something impactful as well and to show their flair. And most of the chefs go totally off menu, and the servers are donating their time. And it's a win-win-win for us. We love the way it worked out.
That's an awesome idea. Where did you come up with that idea?
I would love to say I came up with it on my own, but a friend of mine actually put together a similar event when I was living in Beijing, and we had great success with that, and it spread from Beijing to Shanghai to Hong Kong, and I think, again, people are always just looking for connection and ways to come together, so the opportunity to sit around at a table with new or old friends is something appealing, and then even more so if those little clusters of friends can come together for even more connection at a big party at the end of it all. So,
how much does it cost to do that?
The very cool thing about the event is the prices are different depending on the venue. So it's really affordable to anybody that wants to do it. Yeah, we might range from $50 or $60 a ticket to $150 a ticket. You know, like if you want to go to Noodle Box or if you want to go to Boom and Batten, it's totally different. So it also brings together a community that wouldn't normally interact and spend time together, which makes it a ton of fun.
Yeah, and also generates a lot of genuine exposure for the sponsors.
Yeah, really does. And most of the restaurateurs took it to heart last year, and I suspect they'll do the same, but they were there on site meeting people and sharing their own stories. You know, it was surprising to me how many bartenders and chefs and restaurant owners had their own stories of mental health, of suicide and depression and anxiety, and how it had impacted them and their family. And it was really powerful just for people to share those stories and realize everybody has them. Yeah, you're not alone. This is more normal than you think. We just don't talk about it.
So how do you pick the charities to, like you mentioned, word of mouth, but are they within Canada or are they around the world?
No. For the mental health fundraiser, that's the only one we do in Canada at the moment. We do stuff all over the world. We do social entrepreneurship programs for youth in Haiti after the earthquake there. Unfortunately, aid that came in ruined local industry, so we've educated a few hundred youth with an organization called Jump. And we go and teach them how to start their own businesses to meet the needs in their own community, which is really cool. And we're building a irrigation farm in Thailand right now, so the revenues from produce is funding a special needs school in rural Thailand. We do microfinance in Indonesia for mothers, and we're all over the world, and we vet them intensely just to make sure they're authentic, and we help them scale and see what we can do with them. And then a lot of it has to do with who in our network is looking for what type of project. Like the irrigation one I just mentioned, we had a irrigation company in Australia that was looking for a way to bring their staff together over something meaningful, and we just happened to have 15 acres of farmland that needed to be developed. So
awesome.
Yeah, it kind of worked out well. So yeah, we're everywhere.
Sounds very fulfilling.
It is. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I have to pinch myself that I get to do this. So it's great, and our team is growing, and I'm less involved in the everyday side of it and more just sort of having fun on the ground, flying around, meeting great people. So I feel very spoiled.
Do you need local people in any way?
Always. We always need volunteers, and we're not just about money. I mean, if you have money to give, great, but we're really about skill building and knowledge sharing. So, you know, if you're an accountant and you don't mind spending a couple hours, whether in person, we have charities here we work with, or over the phone doing a Skype session, that goes a long, long way for us. Editing stuff, you know, a little bit of graphic design, just coaching on professional development. Or if you want to fly, if you're a teacher and you want to fly with us somewhere for a week or two and help us train teachers in Kenya. I mean, whatever skill you have, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a Fortune 500 CEO or an artist or a circus performer. Like I said, I mean, we just took a team of circus performers to Nepal. We have somewhere to plug in those skills. So yes, absolutely. We always take more help.
And do you, I'm assuming everybody you're working with has a criminal record check?
Yes. Yeah. If you're going on site with anybody, absolutely necessary.
Do you do any medical work with people?
We do. Yeah. We have a couple really cool projects. We work with a group in Nepal still where the epicenter of the earthquake was there a few years ago that flies in and does Medicamps. So we're always looking for more people there. Then we have a project in Uganda that works with orphans, AIDS and HIV orphans, and we work with them legally so they get to keep their land so they can stay in the villages where they grew up and communities. And so we do mobile clinics there. And yeah, we've tons of opportunities for anybody with medical skills for sure.
So how often are you traveling?
Oh, it changes. I kind of took the last year off just to really enjoy Victoria, to be honest. I fell in love with it here and took a break. But besides that, I'm often traveling as much as 8 months of the year.
What about you traveling in terms of like where do you stay and stuff? Like where would a volunteer stay? Are you billeted? Do you like stay with local families? Do they stay in hotels? Do you do like things? Do you welcome families to come and contribute?
Yeah, we do all sorts. So because we're privately funded, we get to do a lot of different out of the box things. So we can really custom tailor adventures in the right way. So sometimes, I've slept in mud huts in the middle of the jungle with Zika nets, and that might not be for everyone. And then other times we'll get fantastic guest houses with rooftop fire pits and patios and, put everybody there. So it really depends what your skills are and how crazy of an adventure you want to have. And if there's kids, if there's not kids, I mean, we went 4x4ing through Afghanistan. That's not for everybody, but when we go to Bali, I mean, you might love the villas that we stay in there. So it really depends.
And what's the age group of people that you're working with
for
the volunteers?
For the volunteers, we've had everything from about high school to late 60s would be about the range so far. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering because I think it would be a great thing for people to do with their teenage kids.
I agree. And actually we have a lot of interest for that for Asia. They're just starting to travel in China and things like that. And so parents are interested to show their kids the world. And we haven't done it too much here, but I think there would be demand. That's true.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like responsible travel.
Yeah, definitely. And it's even more fun, like where we often get people to stay when they're not staying in a mud hut in the jungle, is villas and small hotels that are social enterprises where people are being empowered with those dollars to do something for their community. So, yeah.
Yeah, where the money goes back into the community.
Yeah, as much as we can. That's the goal.
The only reason why I say this is because I worked at an international school. So, and the kids would go, at one point they had what's called the 3-year option where they would go and work abroad. And I know the level of complexity just in terms of like getting the kids, the health vetting that they would have to go through before they even went and making sure everybody was cared for and, supervised adequately and setting up the connections with local people. This is a huge enterprise.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's just fun. This is how I play. So please don't put me in a cubicle. I can't handle it.
I know, help me out.
It's not for me.
So how long when people go and volunteer, how long are they usually away for?
Anywhere from about 1 week to 1 month, depending on how much time they can give. If people want to do longer, we do have longer projects every once in a while. When you were mentioning healthcare, we have a couple of hospitals, pediatric hospitals in Cambodia and Laos, where you can do like a 6-month stint if you would like, but that's usually something not for everyone, for sure.
And I imagine if you go to a place like Laos or, Thailand or whatever, Cambodia, you're going to see a whole range of different tropical issues, right?
You do, and you often see them at a stage you wouldn't encounter typically in the West. So some of the things we do are not for people with a more sensitive constitution, especially when you're working in projects like the one we do in Nepal. This is a once a year Medicamp that comes in for 3 weeks. So this is the only chance people have to see a healthcare professional, and they'll walk 3 days just to come see a doctor. And we've seen broken arms that have been broken for months, or infections that are just beyond what you would ever think reasonable, and just because there's no care for them. So
does that make you appreciate living in Canada more?
Yeah, my level of gratitude is through the roof every day. I'm flabbergasted that I get to live here. Like, just it comes with a sense of responsibility, to be honest, when you're aware of how fortunate you are and all the privilege that you have. For me, anyway, it motivates me to be the best I can be.
And being a woman here, we have it pretty awesome,
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The woman thing doesn't really even register with me anymore. Maybe because I did business as a Caucasian Canadian, a patriarchal communist country for so long. I kind of walk around going, I'm awesome. It's like
Well, I found when I traveled when I was a lot younger, and I just felt like women have a lot of rights here and a lot of privileges, and we, have opportunities here that aren't found elsewhere, either culturally or religiously, whatever. I don't want to make a social commentary, but I just thought came back really appreciating at age 24 how lucky we were.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, when you're coming at it from that point, I see what you're saying, and it is true. We're working with a group in Kenya that's sort of like an Uber company, but with little electric tuk-tuks, and we give them second life lithium electric batteries from cars that we think take too long to charge. And the social enterprise is cool because they only let women be drivers, and it not only gives them income, but it gives them a voice in the community they otherwise wouldn't have, because now they're entrepreneurs and they control transportation. And it's things we would never have to think about here ever. So we're very lucky. Yeah.
Awesome. So how do people get in touch with you?
You can go to our website, www.businessforbettersociety.org, or you can email me at katie.bbsociety.org, or find us on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, anywhere. Yeah.
And what is your handle? BB Society?
Yeah, our it's BB Society is the handle for most things. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at uncontrived.
I'm not surprised.
That's my life motto.
Okay, so get in touch with Katie if you want to make a difference in the world. If you want to know more about the local world and the Glanford area, contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.